Hello, this is Mr. Gray. This is Mr. Gray's science class. We want to delve into the atmosphere, SOL 6.1. As we go on the board, you see a learning target is that I can identify the layers of Earth's atmosphere by sorting facts about each layer. SOL 6.6, we're dealing here with the student will investigate and understand the properties of air and the structure and dynamics of Earth's atmosphere. Key concepts include air as a mixture of gases, we're going to talk about that, elements and compounds, pressure, temperature, humidity, atmosphere change with altitude. We're going to address those issues as we begin to go through the lesson. Now, what I'm going to do first is go through the actual mini lesson first, then I'll break down how I walk through the entire lesson, okay? Now let's get into the actual presentation. Okay, now first thing we're going to do, the class is going to first do a think, pair, share. What do you know about the layers of the atmosphere? Take 1 minute and think about everything you know about the atmosphere. What you learned in elementary school, what you learned from the weatherman. I want you to take your time and think about it with your partner and write down everything you can about what you know about the atmosphere. Take a few minutes. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, what is the atmosphere? Why do I care? The atmosphere is a protective layer of gases that surround the Earth. Without the atmosphere, the Earth would be exposed to the full strength of the sun. It would be a constant bombardment of meteors. We're going to go into that. Why is that important? Because the atmosphere is like a blanket of air around the atmosphere. That blanket protects us from, we're going to go into the UV radiation. Also, it burns up meteors as it enters to the Earth's atmosphere. In addition, without the atmosphere, there wouldn't be any oxygen for us to breathe. Life on Earth would not exist as we know it. What gases make up the atmosphere? The biggest one is nitrogen. 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. You believe that? 21% is oxygen, 1% is others, like argon and carbon dioxide. Earth's atmosphere is made up of layers that have distinct characteristics. Now, the layers of the atmosphere are these: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. We're going to go into the thermosphere, actually divided into two layers: the ionosphere, the lower portion, and exosphere, the upper portion. Let's talk about the troposphere. Tropo is where we live at. That's where all the clouds are, the weather. We have problems with weather and so forth. As you go up the troposphere, it gets colder and colder. It's about 10 miles high above the Earth's surface. Most of the air is made up of most of the Earth's atmosphere the air is compact in the troposphere. Now, troposphere extends about 14 kilometers above the Earth. That's about 9 miles. That's where all the weather takes place. We talked about that. As you move up into the troposphere, like I said, the temperature decreases as the higher you go. Also, the higher you go, the air gets thinner. Air pressure decreases as you go up higher. At the top of the layer of air, the temperature is about minus 60 degrees Celsius. Stratosphere. The stratosphere begins at the top of the troposphere. That's about 14 kilometers, about 9 miles, and extends to about 50 kilometers, about 31 miles above the Earth's surface. Stratosphere. As you move up into the stratosphere, the temperature of the air actually increases. Well, that's weird. As it goes up, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter in the stratosphere. Why? Because of the ozone layer. This occurs because of the ozone layer. Ozone is a gas that absorbs solar radiation and releases it as heat. The stratospheric or good ozone protects the Earth from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. It's a special blanket. Without this little blanket of ozone, there would be a lot more skin cancer. Because ozone blocks the high frequency ultraviolet radiation that causes serious cancer to the skin. Any place there's a hole in the atmosphere, in the ozone layer, there's a higher incidence of what's called skin cancer. Ozone layer. Now, the problem with the ozone layer too is, in the past we used to use CFCs, those aerosol propellants in aerosol cans and in refrigerators. That gas, the CFC, goes into the atmosphere and actually disrupts the ozone layer and causes a hole. That has been a problem because now you won't get the blockage that you need from the UV radiation that being blocked. So those areas that have, like Australia has a hole in its ozone layer. Australia has a very, very high incidence of radiation, of radiation poisoning, like skin cancer. Stratosphere, here we go. The ozone layer, the ozone spheric layer is located at the bottom of the stratosphere, right here, at the bottom, right there. Now, mesosphere, the next layer, mesosphere begins about 50 kilometers or 31 miles above the Earth's surface and extends to 80 kilometers. Mesosphere. Now, the mesosphere is good about that is, as you move up in the mesosphere, the temperature decreases. The temperature at the top layer can drop to minus 90 degrees. Again, this one is, you start seeing here, as it goes up, it gets colder, colder, colder. I'm going to show you a graph on this, which is really cool, the graph I want to show you. Now, the mesosphere is special because it burns up meteors. Think about it. Those shooting stars, nothing but burning meteors. Wish upon a star is not a star. It's a burning meteor because the friction of the Earth's molecules causes the fallen rock to burn up, and time it hits the Earth, it's nothing but pebbles. Nothing but pebbles. Thermosphere. Thermosphere begins at 80 kilometers above the Earth and extends outward into space. Now, the higher you move in the layer, the higher the temperature. Temperature range in the thermosphere could be up to 1,800 degrees Celsius. That's hot. That's 3,300 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hot. That's extreme. Remember your body temperature is at 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Your water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. So think about that. That day you're talking about 18 times hotter than boiling water. 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the thermosphere, again, is broken up into two layers, the ionosphere and the exosphere. Now, let me show you. In ionosphere, we have something called the aurora borealis. The aurora borealis, the northern and southern lights. This is ionized gas. Beautiful colors, beautiful colors. Looks like something out of sci-fi. Ionized gases. I think you get the point. Now, thermosphere. Let's go back to thermosphere. Like I said, the lower portion is where the ionosphere is, where I showed how beautiful the aurora borealis is, what we call the northern lights. It's beautiful colors and so forth. Now, also, as you go a little further, you have the exosphere. And the exosphere is where you have the space shuttles and the satellites hang out at. Very important concept. You don't want them too low, but you want them high enough for the satellites to enable global communication and the space shuttle to be able to fly. Satellite. Now, ionosphere is found in the bottom of the thermosphere, like I said. Exosphere is found at the top layer of the thermosphere. Exosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere, is at the edge of outer space. Now, this is an important concept here I'm going to show you. Now, the key thing, layers are divided by changes in the temperature of the atmosphere. That's how we divide thermo, exo, iono. It's all divided by changes in the atmosphere, and temperature is how we classify them, by the change in temperature of each layer. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. They did a weather balloon. Now, if you see here, going this way, it gets colder, colder, colder. See at the bottom, it gets colder, colder, colder. Going from 0, this thing comes up. Going from 0, going this way to minus 100 degrees. Then 0, going this way to increase, to get hotter. Now, watch this. In the troposphere, the higher we go up, the colder it gets. Stratosphere reverses it. The higher you go up, the warmer it gets. Mesosphere, the higher you go up, the colder it gets. However, thermosphere, the higher you go up, the hotter it gets. So what we see here is each layer of the atmosphere is divided by the change in temperature. That's how we classify each layer, change in temperature. Very important diagram. Also, to show you right here, again, the troposphere here, Mount Everest is one of the highest mountains we have on Earth. Troposphere, in the stratosphere, the ozone layer, in the mesosphere, burning up of meteors. Then in the thermosphere, we have the aurora borealis, as we see here, and as we go higher, the satellites and spacecraft in the exosphere. Now, we have hopefully you have time to listen to the atmosphere rap by Mr. Lee to sum this up.
Science class? Yeah. Some of y'all be saying that Mr. Lee's class is so boring. Well, how do you like this? Check it. It's Mr. Lee the MC. Some of y'all might think that Mr. Lee is whack, but thinking he can teach us science with a rap. I might do what I do, get you ready for the test. You ain't gotta be smart, you just gotta do your best. So here we go, here's my song about the atmosphere. It's made up of layers like Britney Spears. In the winter when she's singing and it's cold outside, get ready for the song cause you're going bad. Troposphere is where all the weather on this earth occurs, like the rain falling down on the roof, the snow on the road. You know how that goes. Slipping and sliding so much the school's closed. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided into ionosphere and exosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided into ionosphere and exosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided into ionosphere and exosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided into ionosphere and exosphere. Next up on our journey comes the stratosphere. A layer of ozone is what you'll find here. The mesosphere burn up all the meteoroids. It's a beautiful show for all you girls and boys. The thermosphere, oh, there's a lot of heat coming back up here. You don't wanna repeat. Ionosphere, home to the northern lights. lights. The ectosphere filled with satellites. Alright, so now, when we take the test, I want everybody to know the layers of the atmosphere. It goes something like troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided to ionosphere and ectosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided to ionosphere and ectosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided to ionosphere and ectosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, thermosphere divided to ionosphere and ectosphere.
Now, that part is the I do section. Now, let's go into what's called we do section. So I'm gonna go down the actual lesson plan here. The way I broke this down is after I went up the learning target and the SOL standard. The key thing is how I'm going to deal with these two groups. The ESL group, teacher will work with individuals who need assistance, copy of notes and words in Spanish. So that's how I'm going to deal with the kids who are Hispanic, who English is their second language. We're going to take the notes, and we have what's called a translator, and I'll have the notes in Spanish. Also, ESL students, the SPED students, teacher will work with individuals who need assistance, copy of notes, and advanced organizers to help them see the relationship for the SPED students. Now, as we go down here, I went over what I do. Now, what we're going to do as a class is this. We're going to do what's called a sort. Now, in class, what we're going to do in class here is, if you notice here, we have here the layers of the atmosphere. The instruction below is the 4 layers of the atmosphere. Each layer has unique qualities about it. Move and match descriptions on the side of the page into the correct spot in the box below. Each different quality and color is coded. Once completed, turn into your Google Classroom. So right now we're going to take these here as a class. We're going to take the quality and match it to which layer it is. Okay. What's the layer, the air pressure, the temperature, the height above the earth, and extra facts for each layer. We're to do this as a class. I want to go around class. And you're going to show me, we're going to do this together. We're going to do matching here, like I said, so that you, again, reinforce it together as a class. That's what we do. Now, this is what you're going to do right here. What we're going to do here is you're going to, on your own, you're going to do quizzes. Now, what I'm going to do here on quizzes, this will be our feedback. We're going to play quizzes, play it live, and after you go through all the test questions, we're going to see how much you know. You'll be ranked by how many answers you get right. This way, I'll have an assessment of how you comprehend the information in class. Also, we're going to do, as we go along in class, I will do thumbs up. I'll teach a certain amount of information. If you get it, I'll do a thumb survey. If you've got it, hands up. If it makes sense. If you don't got it, hands down. So these 2 ways I'll do immediate feedback. Thumbs up survey during the course of the class, the teaching of the subject, and also the exit ticket is the Quizlet here that we're going to do. For me to see how much, about 15 questions, not a lot, I'm able to assess the class to see if they get it or not. Very important concept. So what I covered here is I do the presentation, we do is the drag and drop, and you do for the class is the actual quizzes. So that covers the three major things and covers how I'm going to differentiate instruction.